So let us begin seated. We'll go through a similar practice to our other weeks. I will maybe try to recap a little bit of what we talked about in the previous weeks. But this week is our final week. We've traveled through all the 5 layers of our bodies and our 5 big emotions. So today is our Ananda Maya Kosha, the deepest core part of ourselves, which is the emotion of bliss, joy, any other feeling that you really love lives here. That might be passion, hope, a feeling of positivity, love, all these really like delicious feelings we love to feel that are like kind of nice and peaceful, right? So sometimes craving something like another donut, that isn't really what's going on here. We're talking about these feelings when you can just sort of, you can hug your dog forever and that moment would be perfectly fine. That's what we're going for here. So we'll go through some movements as we always do, choosing what feels beneficial and healthy to strengthen this part of ourselves where all these positive emotions live. And let's begin, as we have been, we can start by maybe taking a hand to chest or belly, turning our attention inward, and seeing how much bliss we have going on here. We can take a full breath in through the nose, maybe exhale from the mouth. And if we have a hand on our hearts, sensing if we can feel our heart beating. This can help us to tune in with how we're feeling inside. If we have a hand on our bellies, noticing if we feel any sense of emotion in the stomach. Maybe we feel digestion, or sometimes we feel butterflies in our stomach. Maybe feeling a little unsettled. Maybe we can feel our breath moving underneath our hands. Just noticing whatever's going on there, knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect, that we can come to yoga however we are, however we feel. And maybe we want to choose a word or several words to describe how we're feeling. And it'll give us the option to pick one word to describe how we would like to feel. And then when we're ready, we'll take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, and again, maybe out through the nose or mouth. And we'll add movement to go with our breath here. We'll inhale up and exhale down. And it'll give us the option to do a big stretch overhead before our next exhale, so it might feel nice to do some natural movement side to side. And then let's waterfall here. So big breath up and then make a noise like a waterfall. And sometimes that kind of more forced exhale can give us a bit more energy. And let's get moving as we've been doing. We'll take ourselves in a circle. So we'll take our bodies in a circle here, one way and the other. And we're tapping into that sense of bliss, enthusiasm, well-being. Some other feelings we might like here are a feeling of certainty or security. Safety would be another feeling that goes along with this, right? It's really tough to feel happy if there are so many unknown factors in our lives. So maybe we can pick something in our minds that we feel safe, secure, certain about to help us feel we have a good foundation for our positive emotions. And then noticing which direction we're going, let's take it the other direction. Finding what feels good. We might like a bigger circle. Today I'm feeling more like a smaller circle, going a little bit slower. Sometimes when we're feeling sleepy, going a little bit faster or slowly starting to speed up can help us. Let's do maybe 1 or 2 circles here. Depending on how fast we're circling, maybe you fit in 3 circles, but we'll all come back through center. And let's take our bodies side to side, sort of making a C shape or a banana shape. We'll take one arm up and over, big breath in, long stretch. And then we'll come back through center and go the other way. So we talked a little bit about our body chemicals that help us to feel good. And when we're matching breath to movement, that helps produce those chemicals. So as I inhale, I reach, and then as I exhale, I come back through center. So that pattern of the breath coming in is the same length of time it takes me to do a movement. The breath going out is the same length of time it takes me to do another movement. That helps us to feel more of these happy, wonderful, peaceful feelings. Okay, let's do one more here. Beautiful. Come back through center. Let's sit tall. Again, our posture can tell us how to feel. If we're, low energy, really crummy mood, and we sit slumped in a chair, how are we gonna feel? Maybe test it out with me. Sit like you're in the worst mood you've ever been in your life. And then sit like we're in the best mood we've ever been in our whole life, right? And it gives a certain kind of pep to our step as we move. So we're gonna sit in this good mood feeling. We're gonna take a big reach overhead as we breathe in, and then we'll turn and twist. Maybe we're turning the head, maybe not. We can add on by looking upwards. That's another thing that can help boost our mood to feel more blissful. Anytime we take our eyes up, it sends the message to our brains, hey, I'm looking up. I must be feeling a little bit more positive. And sometimes it feels very positive, and sometimes it doesn't have the strongest power. We still feel kind of crummy, but that's okay. There is a place for all of our emotions and feelings in our yoga practice. Once more each way. We know we move at our own speed, respecting our own energy, range of motion, respecting our bodies, thoughts and feelings, all that stuff. Change it up as we need to. We'll come back through center and then shake it off however it feels good. Maybe we like to do some shoulder rolls or windshield wipe the legs. But we will make our way into child's pose. So take your time reorganizing, getting into child's. And child's pose is one we can do actually if you love child's pose. Holding it for a long time and having the thighs pressing against the belly can help us feel more of these happy, peaceful feelings. It's supposed to help produce serotonin and then let it spread through our bodies. So let's pause in child's pose. We'll take 3 breaths. Any variation of child's pose is good. We can stretch the arms out long. Sometimes it feels good to sweep the arms in behind. Sometimes it's called seed or shell, this kind of safe, tiny pose that we make. Also called baby pose. You know how babies are very sweet and cute. We could picture ourselves as a baby if that helps improve your mood. But we're not going to stay here forever. We know we can come back at any time. We're going to come onto all fours. Let's make our way through cat and cow. And we can think about our eyes and the direction of our eyes again this time. So as we come into cat, we can look towards our bellies. And as we come into cow, let's take our eyes upward. And that's our pattern. Let's flow back and forth. So in a way, we're almost practicing our emotions here. Because when we're in a sad emotion, our eyes come down, the body curves inward. And then when we're in a happy emotion, the eyes come up, our body opens outward. So in a way, yoga can help us to practice the whole range of emotions that we have so we get better at tolerating them. And most of life is emotions, right? There isn't really a time when we don't have emotions. Even if we don't really have any emotions, that probably means that we're feeling dull or numb in some way, which is an emotion. Okay, the next time we're in cow pose, we're gonna stay here. So really push down, feeling strong, eyebrows up, eyes up, full breath in. We'll come back through a flat spine or a neutral back, and then we'll make our way, your choice, into downward dog or child's pose. And I think I'm feeling like downward dog today, but no pressure. If you like that belly press in child's pose, you can go there. And again, let's stay for 3 breaths. Down dog or child's in our own perfect way, 3 full breaths in and out. Maybe we like stillness, maybe we want to do a little movement. And we'll make our way all the way up to standing. We'll take our time. Again, if we like the idea of our belly press, we can hang like a rag doll, give our heads a shake, maybe holding our elbows or letting our arms hang. And I like this idea of giving our heads a shake, imagining that we are emptying our thoughts out and creating a space for new thoughts to come in. For today, maybe more joyful thoughts. But we will eventually come all the way up to standing, no rush to get there. And when we get there, let's reset. We'll circle sweep our arms. Maybe you like to waterfall on the way down. Maybe we like to do just a normal breath. Let's add on, we'll do our chair pose here. So we're sitting down and back into an invisible chair. You know how it goes. Make it work for each of us. Maybe we're doing slow and steady wins the race in our chair flow today. Maybe we're feeling more enthusiastic. We want to keep moving faster. We're going to pause at the bottom of our next chair pose. So whenever you get down there, come down with me and we're going to practice this eye movement. If we can take our arms up and then we're going to take our eyes to look towards our hands. It's not a happy pose for everybody's back, so we could take our hands anywhere else that's comfortable. But if we're okay with our arms overhead, we'll take our eyes up and let's just hold for 3, 2, 1, and then we'll come up. Let's swing the arms and bounce the legs. So we're going to incorporate some joyful movements here. Any kind of bouncing, swinging, kind of feeling silly can help us tap into our more happy feelings. Often we walk through the world. If we're really stressed, the body can become quite stiff. And if we're depressed, the body can become quite floppy. And bouncing gets us out of those 2 movement patterns. Okay, maybe we're taking the feet a little wider. I prefer the feet quite wide for this one. You might like them closer. And we'll do some rotation, so some twisting, kind of silly. Some people like to go quite fast and let their arms be like overcooked spaghetti and kind of slap you as they swing around. This might feel like a fun, kind of enthusiastic movement for you, or maybe it feels like it's just letting go of stress. We could pick up our heels and let the hips twist more. I usually like that one, to pick up the heels and let the hips twist. You might like to keep the feet flat and just focus on thwapping your arms around, and that's okay. Okay, last spin here. We'll come back through center. And we're gonna move our arms. This is called breath of joy. So this is why I selected it. But actually sometimes people say, like you are conducting an orchestra. So I hope we know, like a conductor, you know, at the front of the orchestra, they tell all the instruments how to play. And we go like this. We go inhale, 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 exhale, and we come down low. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or front, side, up, down. So it's 3 quick inhales. It looks like this. And we exhale from the mouth. Some people like to do it and be like really aggressive and expressive. I will demonstrate. Let's do 10 together. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm just going to keep going. Join me when you're ready. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Four, Last two. Last one. Okay, we'll bring ourselves back into our hands on hearts on belly. Check in with how we're feeling. Do we feel more joyful? Did you not like that at all? Doesn't matter. We're gonna practice our skill of tuning inward and noticing how we feel. You can give a name to it, as many words as you would like to choose. And since we did do quite stimulating work, we've done this before, we tap on the collarbones to kind of change our emotion. So maybe we take a deep breath in and out, might help us to feel more stable, more peaceful. The other thing we can do is to tap on the collarbones. Sorry, I'm trying not to tap my microphone. We can tap on our collarbones, crossing the wrists. And then again, let's select a word that acknowledges how we would like to feel. So maybe we would like to feel exactly as we feel right now. So you could say, I would like to feel the same as I feel right now. Or maybe you'd like to feel different. And in your mind, just picking that word, acknowledging that wish. Maybe it'll happen today during yoga, maybe it won't, and that's okay. Okay, we're gonna let this go. We're gonna turn wide on our mats. We're gonna take our feet wide apart. We'll do some more stable work, less bouncy. Our sun flow, inhaling the arms up, draw a big circle like the shape of the sun, and sweep down. What is another positive emotion word that people use? We're feeling warm, right? Or I have warm feelings towards someone. It made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. We can do the same thing by creating warmth in our bodies. So our sun pose, just like the name suggests, we're getting warm. And our moon pose, we reach up and out into a 5-pointed star and then bend elbows to ribs, just dropping straight down. Acknowledging that not everything is like the sun, warm, bright, sunny, and happy. Some things are more like the moon, cold, dark, mysterious. Right? Remember I said it's tough to have these happy feelings when you don't know what's coming in life. And I think of that like the moon, right? Like the moon is always changing. It's always in a different spot in the sky. It's less predictable than the sun. And our moon pose can help us practice that. Okay, we're gonna hold in our sun pose instead of our sun flow. So we can take our hands out roughly over top of our feet. And let's practice building inner stability. We're gonna lift one heel at a time. So this can help us practice relying on ourselves. So if I come into this pose and I push too hard or I'm being ridiculous, I'm gonna fall over, I can't trust myself. But if I choose an appropriate level of challenge, maybe that means holding a wall or holding a chair and not lifting so high, then I learn and my body learns I can trust myself. If we feel like this isn't enough challenge, we could lift both heels at once. Maybe we reach our arms and our eyes overhead. This is a very advanced variation. I'm probably gonna fall over, but that's okay. Then I learned that I can recover from challenges. And since we always wanna have breaks to balance work with rest, let's take our hands to our thighs. We'll turn our feet to face forward and we'll come, usually I come halfway down. You might like to go further depending on how the back of the legs are feeling or how you're, sometimes we go too low and our head starts to pound. That's probably not a very good situation. So if you're like me and it makes you dizzy, then you can come halfway down. We could take it to one side at a time, bending our legs. And then we'll be making our way to come back up through center. We'll walk our feet together. And let's step to the top of the mat. We'll do a variation of Flight of the Bird, one of my favorites. So this is the one where we alternate a step back. So whenever you're ready, join me. Alternating right and then left. We use a familiar pattern because familiarity can bring a sense of getting in the flow. Maybe you've heard of a flow state before. So that's where we do something that's a little bit of a challenge, but we have the skill level necessary and we don't have to overthink it. We've done this before. We're good at it. So our flight of the bird or any yoga flow can get us there because we can feel good at it, but it's still a challenge because we're working hard. Maybe we add our bird wings out to the side, like we're showing our muscles. Maybe your bird wings look different than mine. So that's another way we can get into our flow state or our bliss, our joy, is expressing ourselves. Maybe we're not doing one arm at a time, we're doing both arms, or maybe we're sweeping back more like we're swimming. Maybe we just like to reach overhead. So I'm not gonna say anything, we're gonna get into our flow. We're gonna do all sorts of poses. Maybe I'll show us different variations to inspire us, if I can come up with any. Maybe we wanna take our eyes up to practice this enthusiastic, positive posture. Some of us might prefer to close our eyes to tune in with how we're feeling inside. So let's keep going. We'll do maybe 1 full minute. I'm not really keeping count because I lost my watch earlier this week, but I'll give us time. Add your own creativity. Let's get in the flow. If we feel sweat, we feel challenge, that's good for us, right? Every time I feel challenged, I'm getting stronger. If we feel we need more safety, more security, we can come back to a simpler variation that we find easier. Let's go a couple more each side. Last chance for some different variations. We'll come back through center. And let's settle into our chair flow once more, returning to something familiar. Nothing too fancy here. Okay, last one. I said we were gonna do bouncing today. Let's add more bouncing. We're gonna come down like we're skiing. We're gonna bounce our legs. We're gonna pump our arms. I think we did this maybe once before. It's kind of a funny one. What are we gonna do? We're gonna take a full breath in. We're gonna hold our breath and pump 10 times. So it looks like this. And then we reset at the top. Let's do that 3 times through. You can count in your own mind. I will count out loud the first time. Here we go. Full breath in, and then hold our breath. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 2 more. We reset. Last one. And then we stand tall. Beautiful. So that one can sometimes help us move through some more frustrating emotions. Again, to reset, maybe we want to tap our collarbone. And let's go through our various tapping points to help us kind of calm our energy a little bit. So top of the head, breath in and out. Inside of the eyebrows. We might like to add affirmations with this. So you can fill in the blanks and say, I'm noticing that I am feeling. Let's go under the eye. Right now, I feel really. And under the nose. but I open myself up to feeling positive emotions. Under the mouth, on the chin, I'm practicing my yoga to help me feel good. Under the collarbones, maybe we like to cross as we did before. Yoga helps me to practice riding the waves of emotion. We'll go under one arm. It's okay to feel my feelings. And we'll go under the other arm. I'm working towards feeling joy. All right, we'll let that go. Again, maybe we like to shake or do some whatever to get our feelings moving. And let's have some space to step side to side. We're gonna cool down with a flowing tree pose. So we probably know tree pose. We can do all sorts of variations with our hands, and I'll give us some variations to go with our theme of the day. But we'll start, we need some space to be able to step sideways. So our bent leg and then some extra space over there. We'll start in our basic tree pose. Pause, and then we'll step to the other side. If we do a bigger step, we challenge our balance more, right? We have this mix of challenge and comfort so that we can get in the flow. Too much challenge, no happy. Too much comfort, so boring, right? Okay, so we'll inhale and look up, and then come down into tree pose, pause, same thing on the other side. Inhale and look up. So I hope we have a good mix between challenge and comfort so we get into that, happy state. If we want to make it more challenging, maybe we pause in a variation of what's sometimes called a star balance. Up and out. And then in. We'll go a few more times. We can get used to this pattern. We can challenge ourselves as much as we like. And of course, if that's super tricky to you, maybe we're taking a small step, we're doing a small range of motion, and we could be tapping our toes. Balance is really tough to develop, right? So we could be doing super tiny flow or super big flow. We'll go at our own speed. See if we can do one more each side. Remembering to breathe, that's the most important thing. And then we're ready to release. Okay, let's make our way down to the mat. And again, we'll go through our forward fold if you like that variation. Forward fold is a favorite pose for people where they really like to bend the legs and then kind of drape their body over the legs. If you like this variation, wonderful. If not, you could move through it more quickly because we're all going to go into down dog or child's pose in a second. Again, might feel good to shake our heads, nod our heads yes. Practicing saying yes to ourselves, yes to yoga, yes to mindfulness, yes to our lives. And then we're stepping back, downward dog or child's, always up to you. And we'll come into a kneeling lunge, one of my personal favorite poses, which I say because I think it's important for us to do our favorite poses, right? Why not? So we step one foot forward, we shift our body weight into lunge. Maybe we like our hands on our thigh or on the floor. Maybe we want to be more confident, proud, pick the eyes up again. We can take our hands overhead. But every variation is a good variation, including skipping this one. I know not everybody loves it, so you could do something else that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to give us a challenge. Let's see if we can do it. We're going to pick up our back toes, Trust me on this. We're going to pivot. You probably won't be able to see me because of how you're set up at home, but we're going to start to walk our hands towards the long edge of the mat, and we're going to pick up our feet so that we are pivoting our feet. We're going to walk towards the back edge of the mat, and we're going to drop our knees. So now we're in kneeling lunge on the other side. So I'm trying to give us a healthy level of challenge and confusion. If you got super confused, we're doing our kneeling lunge with the other foot in front now. If you didn't get super confused, then you're in exactly the right spot. Pausing and holding, feeling the stretch. All right, I believe in you. We can pivot again. We can challenge ourselves again. We're gonna take our hands down. We're gonna walk our hands to the long edge of the mat. We gotta pick up our knee and our feet so that we can move our whole body. We're doing a little bit of a wide-legged forward fold in the middle, right? And then eventually we make our way all the way back to where we started. And let's step back again into downward dog or child's pose, coming to a familiar place to pause and reset. And let's go ahead and come to a seated position. We'll take our feet wide for a wide-legged forward fold. This is probably not a favorite pose for most of my students. Again, we give ourselves the option for challenge or modification. If you like wide-legged forward fold, perfect. We put our legs in a V and lean forward as much as you like. If this one is painful or impossible or anything else, maybe we like spider pose instead with our legs bent. We could work on our posture with our hands in behind, helping us to push our spines long. Or we could take our hands forward. We can just keep folding. And I think it's important to practice respecting our bodies and accepting reality. Like for so many people, it's a real challenge we want to push reality away, or maybe we become obsessed with it. Like, oh, I'm just not good at this pose. I'm too tight. But let's practice respecting our bodies. What would that look like? So this one for me is an okay pose, but I really like it with the legs straight. And I'm just gonna respect and accept the fact that I live in this body and apparently that's what's happening. And it's, I think, easier on a physical level usually to say, okay, yeah, I can accept reality. This is what's happening. I think it's tougher on a mental, emotional level to think, oh, I feel sad. It's a lot harder to go, oh yeah, I feel sad. I can accept reality. That's just what's happening. But maybe if we practice doing the body part, the emotional part will come. At least that is my goal. We'll see. Okay, we're ready to lie on our backs. And I'm gonna go this way so I need to see the clock since I lost my watch, but I am okay with that. I am accepting reality. It's somewhere in the house. All right, so we'll lie down, and again, let's take some time to feel good, adjust, whatever we need to reset. And I'll offer us a flowing hip opener. So we can take ankle over thigh. We usually start right ankle over thigh. So today, let's do left ankle over thigh. Confuse ourselves a little bit. Might feel a little off kilter, but then we can tell our bodies to be more comfortable by adding swaying movement. So we sway the legs side to side. This one can really help with digestion. Again, we often feel our emotions are in our stomach, right? We have butterflies in our stomach. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. that sort of thing. So anything that helps move our digestion along can help us to just feel like we're in a better place. So twisting is good for that, to help us have more happy feelings. Flowing movements, breathing smoothly. Always want to check in and make sure that we are breathing. And we need to do both sides, don't we? So we'll switch legs and keep flowing, keep breathing. And we have done a lot of thinking today. Maybe now we're just moving. You might want to keep thinking, and that's okay. But maybe we are able to feel our bodies moving without overthinking it. And we'll come back through center, and then I'll suggest probably giving the legs a hug or a long stretch or anything else that we need. But we'll finish with a guided relaxation. We can take our arms and legs wide if that's comfortable. Or any other things we've been working on, right? Maybe we want to do sleeping butterfly, hands on heart or belly. We could give ourselves a hug with our arms. Take the arms into any other position. And as we do, I will sit up to guide us through our meditation, but please do make yourself at home. Get comfortable, get blissful. We might even want to lie on our side in a fetal position. Sometimes that's more comfortable, more conducive to joy. To curl up, get a pillow, get a blanket, anything else we need. And we'll go through an exercise called rose, thorn, bud, and then I'll throw in a couple of others. So we start picturing in our mind's eye a rose, a beautiful rose, and it can be any color that you would like. And then once we are focusing our minds on this rose, each part of the flower represents something different to help us tap into our joy or our bliss self. The rose itself represents gratitude. So bringing to mind something that you feel grateful for. Maybe the word grateful doesn't work for you, something you feel lucky about or appreciative, something you're happy about, something you love. And just point it out in your mind. And as we know, every rose has its thorn. Noticing the thorns on the stem of the rose. And then in your mind, acknowledging something that you've been going through lately that's been difficult. So we said we're not talking about toxic positivity when we're talking about joy. And we can't just take away all the bad feelings and only have good feelings, unfortunately. So let's just acknowledge, maybe we put a hand on our hearts. I've been going through this thing lately and it's been really hard. Maybe even saying to ourselves, I know it's been really tough for me. And I just want to acknowledge that. Sometimes we have a tendency to say, oh, it's not that bad. It's not a big deal. Maybe it helps to say, actually, it is a big deal. And we'll let that idea go as we move on to the bud on the rose. So it hasn't bloomed yet, it's there, and it's just waiting. This is our positive anticipation. So bring to mind something in the future, the near future, that we're looking forward to. Doesn't have to be anything gigantic. In fact, I think it's more helpful when we look for the simple pleasures in life. Something that's going on tomorrow that you're looking forward to, or at this time of year, often we get excited about the coming of spring and summer and the warmer weather. So bring to mind something we're looking forward to. And then let's notice a part of the rose, one of the roses that is maybe dying off, or maybe even the petals that have fallen on the ground. And they were so beautiful in the past, but they're over now. That's a happy memory. Let's bring to mind a happy memory. It could be earlier today, it could be a long, long time ago, but we're practicing remembering good things. Let's bring that happy memory into our hearts and feel the warmth. Maybe it's even a little bit of it's a bittersweet memory. Might even be a little painful to recall. That's okay. It's sad that the petals have fallen on the ground, but it's a happy memory to remember how beautiful the rose was. And let's notice the earth that the rose is growing out of. That's the foundation for our lives. So noticing if we live in a home, a safe neighborhood, if you had a good meal today, anything that gives us a good foundation to feel secure, safe, taken care of. Maybe we don't have all of our needs taken care of, but let's find at least something to acknowledge. Oh yeah, I have that. And it begins to rain. And we notice all the drops of rainwater landing on the rose, the earth around it. The roots are ready to soak it up so that the flower can be luscious and hydrated. And all these drops of water are the helpers. They always say, Mr. Rogers, the famous quote that we get from him, is that his mother said to look for the helpers. When there are tough times in life, there's always somebody who stands up to help. So these drops of water are the people in our lives who support us. Often they're strangers who are kind when we're going through a rough day. Someone holds the door open for you. People in your community and your daily life. Could be earlier today or far, far in the past. But bringing to mind as many as we can, people who we feel close to, cared for, supported by, and I'll even include what we call parasocial relationships. So there might be somebody on a podcast or a YouTuber, the radio, a celebrity, a movie star that you feel through their work, you feel connected to and supported by them. That's part of your community as well. Again, let's scan the body, checking in head to toe, noticing how we're feeling now, what impact this has had on us, body, mind, spirit. Giving ourselves a little pat on the back for building all the parts of ourselves, strengthening ourselves, developing. Hopefully, all of these things tonight have worked towards our core self, our bliss body. If we like the Sanskrit word, it is our Anandamaya Kosha, or our emotion of the day, joy. We will finish here. You can stay exactly as you are. Lie and hang out for a little bit. If we're ready to sit up, we can sit up. Let us bring our hands to heart center. Joining our energies. Thank you so much for joining me here today, for choosing to spend your time with me for this class and the whole series. And I hope that it has somehow added to your well-being. From my light to yours, namaste.